When we get engaged or are newly married, it's really such an exciting time. We get gifts and cards and congratulations. We also tend to get a lot of advice. One of the things I often hear from clients is that they get the advice that they should never go to bed angry. Now that is helpful advice, and I do tend to agree with it. In general, it's true. In fact, it is true whether we are newly married or married for 50 years. We want to keep very short accounts and be quick to listen and to forgive. However, we're also human. We're going to make mistakes, and there will be conflicts. So what happens when we have a conflict late in the evening? What if we're so tired we just know this discussion is not going to go well? Should we just continue to try to just slog through it and try to work it out before we go to sleep so that we don't go to bed angry? I think a little context would be helpful here. When we get into a conflict, we tend to get upset and worked up. Our heart rate goes up, and our hippocampus, the part of our brain that helps us to listen and reason, goes offline. Doctors John and Julie Gottman, esteemed couples researchers, describe this state of affairs as diffuse physiological arousal, or being flooded. When we're flooded, it is virtually impossible to listen, to respond well, or to have a good, productive conversation. When we combine being flooded with being physically tired at the end of a long day, odds are stacked against the conversation going very well. We are not going to be able to listen well or empathize with our partner. And in our attempt to not go to bed angry, we might actually be doing more harm than good. In the best interests of our relationship, it is more helpful and productive to take a time out and pause the discussion until the next day. We can stop the discussion and remind our partner how much we love them and that we really want to work this out with them. We can set a time for the next day to resume the conversation. And when we do get back to the discussion, we then will have a completely different discussion. It will be much more productive, helpful, and kind. Just be sure to finish the conversation the next day. We might think that we don't want to or need to reopen the disagreement again. However, the conflict does not go away. It just goes underground. And then it will resurface when another conflict happens. So if it's 1 a.m. and we're trying to work out a conflict so that we won't go to bed angry, it might actually be in the best interest of our relationship to pause, take a time out, and resume the discussion the next day. Now that is pretty helpful advice.